No water, no filters, still survived, the Viking Ocean secret the Navy is studying, Prepper's survival blueprint. They crossed one of the most violent oceans on Earth without filters, without plastic containers, and without modern desalination, and they didn't die of thirst. That fact alone cuts straight through everything modern survival culture tells you. You've been trained to believe that without stored fresh water, you're already finished. Yet these northern sailors pushed into open ocean for weeks, sometimes longer, and returned alive, steady, and capable. This wasn't luck. It wasn't guesswork. It was a system built on discipline, observation, and ruthless efficiency. The kind of system that modern survival research is only now circling back to, piece by piece. Rain wasn't treated as a surprise gift. It was expected, prepared for, and harvested with intent. Their ships were not just vessels for movement, they were tools for collection. Large fabric sails, made from coarse natural fibers, doubled as water catchment systems. When storms rolled in, water didn't just fall and vanish into the sea. It was guided. It ran along the textured surface of the sails, down carefully positioned lines, and into waiting containers. Every crew member understood, their role. There was no scrambling, no chaos, no wasted motion. Containers were kept ready before clouds even formed, and the system turned a passing storm into a controlled supply drop. Modern field tests confirm the logic. A simple surface can gather liters in minutes under steady rain. Scale that up to a full sail, and the numbers become serious. The insight here is blunt. Rain is not random, it's predictable enough to plan around. And when treated as a system, it becomes reliable. Rain was not luck, it was a system. Out in cold waters, fog isn't rare, it's constant, and where there is fog, there is water, if you know how to take it. Cloth was stretched along lines and rigging, not for decoration, but for function. As fog moved through, tiny droplets clung to the rough fibers. Over time, those droplets gathered, merged, and began to drip. It wasn't fast. It wasn't dramatic, but it worked, quietly and continuously. The materials mattered. Rough wool and similar fibers trapped moisture far better than smooth surfaces. That detail made the difference between failure and steady gain. Today, modern fog harvesting systems use the same principle in dry coastal regions, pulling usable water straight from the air. Naval survival studies have confirmed it again. Passive systems like this require no energy, no fuel, and no moving parts. They operate in the background while everything else is happening. It's slow accumulation, but survival often comes down to systems that never stop working. Fog was harvested from thin air. One of the most overlooked truths in survival is that water doesn't just come from containers, it comes from food. These sailors understood that deeply. Fresh catches from the sea provided more than calories. Fish, especially when consumed without heavy drying or processing, contain a high percentage of water. That moisture contributes directly to hydration. It's not enough on its own, but it stretches reserves further than most people realize. Even preserved foods played a role. When combined with available moisture, they help the body retain water longer. Fat-rich foods were particularly valuable. They didn't hydrate directly, but they slowed the body's burn rate, reducing the need for constant intake. Modern research supports this completely. Hydration is not just about how much you drink, it's about how efficiently your body uses what it has. Food becomes part of the water strategy, not separate from it. There's a tendency to dismiss fermented drinks as a luxury, something carried for comfort rather than survival. That assumption misses the real advantage. Stored fresh water, especially over long periods, can turn unsafe. Bacteria grow, quality drops. Fermentation changes that equation. Lightly fermented drinks create an environment that limits harmful microbes, making them more stable over time. These beverages were not strong, they were mild, often diluted, and consumed carefully. And despite common belief, they still contributed to hydration. Modern science confirms that low-alcohol drinks can provide a net gain in hydration when the concentration remains low. It's not ideal compared to clean water, but in survival conditions, safe and usable beats perfect but unavailable. The priority wasn't purity, it was reliability. Rationing wasn't about panic or extreme deprivation, it was controlled, measured, and consistent. Water wasn't handed out randomly or only when someone felt desperate, it was distributed on a schedule, small amounts, spaced out, adjusted based on workload and conditions. The goal wasn't to feel fully hydrated. The goal was to remain functional. That distinction matters. Modern physiology shows that the human body can operate under mild dehydration for extended periods, as long as intake is managed and physical strain is controlled. These sailors didn't wait until thirst became overwhelming. They stayed just ahead of it, never overcorrecting, never wasting supply. It's a disciplined balance and it kept them alive far longer than erratic drinking ever could. Modern survival advice often paints the ocean as a dead zone for hydration. That's only half true. Drinking seawater directly is dangerous, yes, but the ocean environment itself is full of indirect opportunities. Rain cycles, fog banks, condensation, and marine life all connect to a broader system that can be used. These sailors didn't see endless saltwater as a barrier, they saw a moving environment with patterns they could exploit. That mindset is critical. It shifts the focus from what you can't use to what you can. Modern naval training has started to return to this idea, emphasizing awareness over dependence on equipment. Tools can fail. Systems, once understood, don't disappear. Modern survival culture has developed an obsession with constant hydration. Drink before you're thirsty. Keep consuming water at all times. It sounds safe, but in extreme conditions, it can become a problem. Overhydration dilutes essential salts in the body, leading to fatigue, confusion, and, in severe cases, dangerous imbalance. Survival is not about maximum intake. It's about correct intake. These sailors lived in that balance every day. Too little water reduced performance. Too much at the wrong time caused its own issues. Modern research backs this up. Hydration needs are not fixed. They change based on temperature, effort, and nutrition. Blind rules don't work in unpredictable environments. Adaptation does. Every part of their system pointed toward one goal: efficiency. Nothing was wasted. Rain collection maximized natural supply. Fog harvesting added a constant trickle. Food choices supported hydration and reduced demand. Fermentation improved safety. Rationing controlled usage. Each piece alone wouldn't be enough. Together, they formed a network that kept people alive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. That's the difference between relying on a single solution and building a system. Modern survival gear often focuses on tools, filters, pumps, gadgets. Those have their place, but without a strategy, they're limited. These sailors built strategy first, and everything else supported it. Modern maritime survival studies are quietly circling back to these older methods, not out of curiosity, but out of necessity. In real emergencies, advanced equipment isn't guaranteed. Power fails, supplies run out, conditions shift. Researchers have tested passive collection systems, measured hydration from food sources, and analyzed controlled rationing under stress. The findings are consistent. Simple systems work. Not perfectly, not comfortably, but reliably. Fog nets produce measurable water. Rain catchment remains one of the most effective emergency methods available. Controlled intake extends survival time in a predictable way. None of this is new. It's a rediscovery of what worked long before modern convenience existed. Strip away the history, and what remains is a practical approach you can apply anywhere. Start by creating collection surfaces. Anything that can catch and direct rain becomes valuable. Add passive systems where possible. In fog-heavy areas, even simple cloth can gather moisture over time. Rethink food. Choose options that support hydration and reduce metabolic strain. Control your intake. Small, steady amounts beat extremes every time. And, above all, observe your environment. Survival is not about forcing solutions onto a situation. It's about recognizing what the environment already offers and using it with precision. Why this still matters today. It's easy to think this knowledge belongs to the past, replaced by modern technology. But technology has limits. Storms break equipment. Salt corrodes systems. Supplies run out faster than expected. When that happens, knowledge becomes the only tool left. These sailors didn't survive because they had advanced gear. They survived because they understood systems, how to collect, conserve, and adapt. That's the real lesson, not a trick, not a shortcut, a mindset built on awareness and efficiency. Once that clicks, the ocean stops looking like a death sentence. It starts looking like a system waiting to be used.